Well, folks, the day has come. It's finally time for me to sell my Leicas. And if you're watching this and you're even considering buying a Leica, I think that this might be really helpful because I'm gonna walk you through everything that I love about these cameras and everything I do not love about these cameras. I'm gonna get into all of it, and it might just help your decision as to whether or not Leica is the right camera system for you. I'm Velvet Alfredo. I'm a street portrait photographer. I go out into the world and I take photographs of interesting and unique people. Well done. See ya. Bye-bye. Thank you. Now, for a decade in Los Angeles, I was a street photographer. I was using Fuji, I was using Sony, and I really enjoyed it. It was just kind of like a hobby of mine. And when I moved to Charlotte, I had kind of fallen out of the game, and I was here for years and years. I wanted to get back into photography, but I wanted to do it in a really serious way. And I thought, if I'm gonna get serious about photography, I should buy really serious equipment. And I think at that time I was verging on a professional photographer in that I went to film school, I'm very familiar with the gear, I've been photographing for over a decade. This all made sense to me. And so I thought, now is the time to upgrade. I could get lost in digital presets and tweaking and all of that, and I was worried that that was gonna just take over everything I was doing in photography. So I thought, let me go deeper into film photography. As I left LA, that's what I was shooting. I was shooting medium format film on a twin lens reflex. So I thought, let me get into film photography, and that's why I picked up the Leica MA. This is the entirely manual, entirely mechanical Leica film camera that Leica sells. It's brand new. I bought it from Leica USA. There's no light meter in it. You have to use Sunny 16 or some kind of external meter. It's all mechanical. It's just a beautiful object. It feels good to hold in your hand. It feels serious. Honestly, I got exactly what I paid for. This is not cheap. I mean, you could buy a Nikon F3 for a couple $100 if you wanted, and that's a totally capable film camera. But this is almost $6,000. And the thing about this Leica is that it uses the Leica M mount, a very classic mount that has been around for decades. And it is compatible with their digital cameras. And that was kind of the gateway to buying my second Leica, which was the Leica M11. Now, they look very similar, right? I got a silver film camera and I got a black digital. This one's a little bit heavier. They use the same lenses. And so, I had this fantasy in my mind of I'm gonna be interchanging the lenses. I can use anything I want for these. And it was really seductive. And I was getting frustrated with the film. I forgot how low resolution 35mm film is. I mean, it's really small when you're in this universe of massive RAW files. 35mm scanned film has very limited latitude, is very low resolution. I found myself wanting, and so this really filled that gap where I could have 60 megapixels, I could edit to my heart's content. I mean, and you get what you pay for with this camera. It is extremely well built. It is trustworthy. But the experience of shooting with Leica is what I want to talk about next. For any experienced photographer, you have a sense that different camera systems shoot in different ways. And this is a very contemplative tool. This is not a high-speed action type of camera. This is a camera that I think fits the street photography world or the travel photography world where you were out and you were seeing a moment and you were snapping that one moment. It slows you down. It forces you to concentrate on what you're doing. You are focusing manually. In my case, I'm exposing manually. And it is just a tool that is built for purposeful photography. It is not something where you just snap, 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 snap. It's not that kind of camera. I found that I needed to start moving faster because my subjects on the street, everything is so dynamic. And what I'm trying to do in my portrait sessions on the street is they are official photo shoots, right? That I have sub 90 seconds, sometimes closer to 60 seconds, because I'm interrupting somebody on the street. I'm convincing them to shoot a couple photos with me, and I have to just bang away at it. And sure, I could set this camera up so that generally everything's in focus, but that wasn't the look I'm going for. I'm trying to make proper portraits where there is a distinction between the foreground and the background, and there's, depth of field and subject separation, the whole thing. And this camera, it fights you in that way, that you're finding focus at 3 different depths, whether it is a close-up, a medium shot, and a wide shot, all within 60 seconds, with a flash, with microphones. Everything about this was it wasn't the right gear. And I found that when I was using other camera systems like a Sony, it's focusing very quickly. It's handling the flash measurement really well in real time so that I could just concentrate on the composition. I can concentrate on the interaction. And with the Leicas, I was concentrating about the camera. Like, I was always thinking about the camera and what photo it was going to generate. Versus on the street, I want to focus on the person. I want to focus on the event. That feeling over time was why this system, I kept grabbing it less and less and less. And sure, you could say like any autofocus system, I bought the Leica Q3. I went from this to the Leica Q3 to the Sony a7R5 because I immediately knew like autofocus was going to be a way better solution for me given how chaotic my street interactions actually are. And I found the Leica Q3, while the lens is really good, it's just a, autofocus camera, and it's not the best one. That the files are nice, the lens is nice, but the autofocus system is slow-ish. The camera is not very extensible. It doesn't want to be kitted out the way that like a Sony or a Canon wants to be. It is just like this like nice little small travel camera, but that is not the kind of gear that I needed on the street, because what I've discovered is I've kitted my camera out to such a degree to like shoot video, to shoot high-speed photography, to shoot vlogs when I want to. I have 2 SD card slots. I've got a cage on it. Like, everything's been kitted out to be like the perfect tool for me. And if you want a camera the way Leica builds it for your circumstance, travel, traditional street photography, whatever it is, the Leica M11, the Leica MA, they're incredible. But if you want something else, or you want to evolve this camera system into something a little bit more tuned for you, I find that Leicas are not the right choice. Despite the fact that like I have deep love for the heritage of Leica. I have deep love for like the technical build quality. I don't have the kind of hate that a lot of like fanboys do in other systems where they say you're just overpaying. It's like, I don't even care about that. The problem is it's not the right tool for so many people. That so many people lust over a Leica like I did, and it's just not the tool that you should be using because your circumstance is asking for something else. And in my case, my circumstance was asking for something that had incredibly fast autofocus, incredibly accurate flash settings, something that could shoot video at really high resolution, shoot slow-mo, that I could use it as a vlog camera. That's what I needed, and I found that over time. It kind of hurts a little bit, but it feels right to say I have to say goodbye to these cameras. As much as I love them, it's just I don't pick them up because the cameras that I've got are doing a much better job at the work I want to create. And so the question I would ask yourself, what am I trying to make? Does a slow, contemplative camera system speak to that? Is that what you want to be using? And a lot of people, the answer is going to be yes. I mean, I see every day on YouTube, there's all these people shooting like traditional street photography. And I can see why a Leica M11 or a Leica MA, it's the perfect piece of gear for you. You wouldn't blink at the idea of like a Leica is not the right camera for a sports photographer. That'd be kind of wacky, right? Like, because you need extremely high speed, you need incredibly long lenses, there's like a lot going on there. It's not to say it's not good. It's not to say that it is not maybe the highest quality build construction I've ever found on a camera. I'm saying this to those of you that are contemplating getting into the Leica universe and the rangefinder system, and ask yourself, does this fit what I want to make? Don't just buy it because you lust after Leica gear. I get it. I went down that road. You got to choose the right tool for the right problem. And if you choose the wrong tool, you find yourself butting up against that tool and you're not able to fulfill that like unique expression that you're going for. That's how you make work yours. Are you choosing the right equipment for you? And that's not a rangefinder system that's manual focus. And that's not obvious until you actually get out into the field and you use this kind of equipment for the project that you're trying to build. So that's my rant for the day. I really appreciate you folks watching. I'm Velvet Alfredo. I'm a street portrait photographer. And if you haven't hit that like and subscribe button, please do. It means the world to my channel. And I can't wait for you guys to see my next video. See you soon.